Hello, dear ones, Father Peter John, coming to you from All Saints Orthodox Church in Bloomington, Indiana. Christ is in our midst. Today, this might be perhaps one of the most spectacular stories I've ever related to you, and I know that says a lot because the stories of the saints are always spectacular, but this one, I don't know, it may take the cake. So, I want to share it with you. First, I'll just say, those of you who know me well know how much I love stargazing. I like to go out at night in my driveway and look up at the stars and look at the creation and think of the God who made them and the fact that God made me stand here at this moment observing his creation. It's just a beautiful point of contact between the creature and his creator. And so I love space. I'm not an astronomer. I don't have some great training in the galaxies or anything like this. I love space. So when I heard this story, it immediately caught my attention. It's a story about Saint Porphyrios. Now, here's how it goes. It's many layers. Here we go. So in 1970, the Apollo 13 mission launched, and there was an explosion with an oxygen tank on the way to the moon. They had to abort the lunar landing, the landing on the moon. And then the challenge was, how do we get the 3 astronauts on board home safely? So then we come to a man named Anthony Kondratos, who was the head of a team of 16 different doctors who worked very closely with Wernher von Braun on the manned U.S. space flight program during the 60s and the 70s. And this man, Kondratos, he was Greek Orthodox. He was the spiritual child of St. Porphyrios. And he was the one, of course, he was heading the doctors who were trying to help keep the astronauts safe in the space program. So when the Apollo 13 accident happened, then they were called together, and he was called to chair this group, of men who were trying to figure out, how do we get these astronauts safely home? Well, apparently, Kondratos, before the meeting happened, contacted Saint Porphyrios, his spiritual father, to ask for a blessing and for prayers. And Saint Porphyrios gave him a blessing, but then I also gave him something else. He told him, he said, when you're in the meeting, you let all of the other doctors, the other scientists, you let them speak first. He says, but when it's your turn, you speak last, and here's what I want you to say. And he gave Dr. Kondratos, he gave him a solution to the problem on the Apollo 13. Well, Dr. Kondratos was, he knew he needed to be obedient to his spiritual father. And so he took this information into this meeting, and everybody else spoke, and then it came time for his turn last. And he was the one who came up with this idea. Well, of course, St. Porphyrios came up with the idea, but he was the one who presented this idea of placing a square peg in a round hole. That if you've seen the movie Apollo 13, you know what I'm talking about. Figuring out a way to filter out the carbon dioxide that was going to kill the astronauts before they could reach the Earth. And so, as you can see, that was a successful fix for the problem. The astronauts made it safely back to home. Dr. Kondratos got great notoriety for this. He was highly awarded. He lived a phenomenal life of helping others. And now you know the rest of the story. You know who was behind this miraculous fix that brought these Apollo astronauts home. It was none other than our Holy Father among the saints, Elder Porphyrios. Spectacular. Wondrous is God and his saints. Christ is in our midst. He is and ever shall be.